Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to the penultimate race of the 63rd season of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series here at the heights of Talladega Super Speedway, the first race of the final round, the championship four. This is the halfway point here tonight in determining the championship. The championship will be decided next week at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. 4 drivers, no winning you're in type situation. It's just whoever accumulates the most points here tonight and a week from tonight. And 4 drivers that are no stranger to battling for the championship. 3 of them have taken that coveted trophy in the past. One driver looking for his very first. I'm Seth Cole, alongside of Michael Norman, who you just saw fly by the camera right there, and I don't know if he got wiped out in what we just saw or not, but Michael.
No, I didn't.
You didn't. You made it through.
I'm still going.
Made it through unscathed.
Don't take me out, coach. I can do this.
I can still race. But Michael, you talked about this last time, I won't say last week, because obviously we had Thanksgiving break. Hope everybody had a very happy Thanksgiving. But 2 weeks ago, you said, when I talked to you about these particular 4 drivers, how we always seem to find them on the track at the same time working together. All bets are off now. There's no working together. It's every man for himself, because you don't want to help that other guy take the championship from you.
No, you don't. You don't really want to take the championship away from anybody, or give it away to say that too. I'm struggling down the back straightaway with my car, but I mean, it's going to be every man for himself. You're going to put yourself in the right positions. I mean, you're going to work with who you want to work with. There's still 65 laps, but on that last lap, man, it's going to be every man for himself.
It's going to be really interesting. I mean, here tonight, normally when we have a first race of a round, drivers look at it as a must-win situation. Why? Because it locks you into the next round. There's no corresponding round after this. This
Excuse
is
me,
it.
Where's our pole sitter at? Gosh, he's on a racetrack.
He is currently missing in action, basking in the fact that he's a 3-time pole sitter of this series, apparently. Yes, folks, the random generator for qualifying put me on the pole. You just saw him disappear, but it put Michael in 4th position. We had top 5s. We were so close. Close to having an all-broadcaster front row.
We're Team Grey Car.
Yes. Well, no, actually, on my screen, you actually were in a Pennzoil car, which is ironic because you normally run a Pennzoil car in a lot of online series because of being a Logano fan. So that seemed kind of appropriate there.
Really?
Though you joined the Matt McIntyre brand of running a triple-digit car right then. So congrats on that, I guess.
We'll never have that.
We'll never have that. So you'll see the lanes move up there with Bernie Mobbs going to be the pole sitter and Denny Carroll to his outside, and it will be a somewhat late green for these drivers as well, because it will pick up the 3rd place car for the dropping of the green flag, since obviously the pole sitter is not on the racetrack. But Michael, let's talk a little bit more about these championship 4, because obviously 2 weeks ago we had more eliminations. Donnie Garrett, Kelly Causey, Mark Paglia, Bob Seminary eliminated. So
Bob Seminary?
Yes, Biscuits, if you would rather have the nickname.
Well, you said Bob Seminary. So
did
I
I?
was trying to figure out who that was.
Could have sworn I said Bob Marinara. That's another name that's been used for him. That's not an original of mine. But now add those 4 drivers to those that are in the field tonight, not in the hunt for the championship. Obviously, the odds are greatly in favor of the non-championship drivers to the final 4. How difficult is it going to be tonight, if you're one of the championship competitors, to make sure you do not get involved in a wreck, or at least have a horrible finish tonight, because you may not get a second chance next week?
Well, Seth, let me talk to you. Yeah, you don't want to have a rough night. That's the big thing. It's like you said, there's 2 races in terms of it's like a part 1 and a part 2 to the finale here in RTG, and the points you get are what's gonna roll over into the next part, and you don't want to have a bad night. You want to have, I don't want to necessarily say win, but if you know that you can't win, put yourself in a position to gain maximum points.
Yeah, I think that you're gonna see all but the championship 4 be in ultra aggressive mode tonight. They got nothing to lose. There's 2 more checkered flags on the line tonight. those final four are going to have to be a little bit conservative here. And to your point, big picture race. Don't put yourself in a position. If you're going to finish sixth, finish sixth. Don't try and go for more. Get involved in a wreck and finish in 26th.
I definitely hope Kyle was watching when I did that, because otherwise I would have done that for nothing.
You did the LA Knights.
And cracked open a cold one.
So you're Stone Cold and LA Knight?
I'm Stone Cold LA Knight, yeah.
Well, this is going to be a stunner of a race, let me tell you, because we're getting ready to go green here. Bernie Mobbs, Denny Carroll lead the field into turn number 1, and a few of our Final Four competitors got the benefit of a good qualifying draw this evening. Jeremy Jeffries there on the inside. Second car in line, right behind him, Josh Metallic, and then third car on that outside line would be Tim Nofsker. The only one not up here at the front is Chuck McClure. He's back there in the middle of the pack.
One thing I noticed, Seth, you didn't go through the starting lineup.
I didn't, and there was a reason for it. I forgot to get the print screen before going live.
Good job.
At least I got some kind of innovation.
The 45 did not take the green flag.
That would be Tom Dixon, the Batmobile. Is further back there, that's Rodney Sullins jumping up to the outside line. Looked like Bob Seminara jumped up there with him. Lap 1 gonna be completed, and I think, at least visually, it looked like Denny Carroll led it in the 41. But man, that was super close.
It was close. 5,000th of a second.
Whew. Talking about close finishes, as Michael alluded to, there's like a part 1, part 2 here. 2 races in this final round. Cumulative points will determine the champion. And people might be thinking, well, that must mean it's not going to be really super tight for the championship. There was a few seasons ago, Richard Martin ended up winning the championship by 1 point. The season after, it was a 2-point separation for the championship. So, no, they don't have the 1 race and done for the finale anymore. They have the 2 races, but it still brings about super, super close points battles for the ultimate prizes. A lot of moving around here in the latter half of the top 10. Greg Palmer moved up to that third lane. Tim Nofsker is going to jump up there as well. Try and lead that third line to the front. You got to think if there's a checklist for these playoff contenders. Oh no, there goes Denny Carroll down into Josh Metallic. No caution going to wait for that as the 41
hit the inside wall hard, and I think he might have hit it with the rear of his car, but that's already a championship 4 contender.
That's huge on 2 counts, Michael, because 1, he is a championship competitor, but here tonight as well is the final battle in the bracket challenge between Metallic and Jessica Shelton. Here this evening, if Shelton finishes ahead of Metallic, she wins the championship. If Metallic can finish ahead of Shelton, they have a rematch next week. So that right there just put the advantage to car number 9. Denny Carroll, I'm pretty certain, caught air. I don't know if he went all the way over. There you see the back end damage on the Gray Ghost. Carroll able to continue on, and I'm not necessarily certain who had the contact that led to that incident, because remember, with that not bringing out a yellow, if there is someone responsible, they would have to serve a pass-through penalty in order to not get a post-race EOL. Well, so we'll see if anybody dives onto pit road here.
Well, Seth, I will go back and take a look at this.
Please do.
Let's see. Could very well be the 28, maybe, but we'll see if somebody got turned down onto him.
Also, let me know if the 39 hit the Armco barrier or if he hit the, like, this, not necessarily the safer barrier, but the inside, the white section of the wall.
Okay, so here's what happened. He hit the inside white wall.
He did. Okay, so he
he
might be okay.
Yeah, he hit it with the rear. So the 088 car was coming up in such a hurry. The 41 was changing lanes. He almost hit the wall, had to bail out of the gas, and just the 088 had no time to react and just caught a bad bump.
So that's Tim Nofsker, who's another of our championship 4.
The 39 hit the wall with the rear end of his race car.
So the reason why I asked about whether he hit the Armco barrier or the white inside wall is because I believe it's a little bit less of an impact. It's a little bit less damage to the car if you hit the white inside wall.
Well, I mean, if you want to look back at his car, there's a big old dent in the rear.
Yeah, I have noticed that. However, I've seen in cases, and I've actually driven a car that had no back bumper, but as long as you're able to be in the draft, if he's able to catch a yellow, get back up to this pack, if you're able to be in the draft and have somebody pushing you, you can still be up to speed.
Yeah, he definitely might be all right.
So this race is not over for Josh Metallic, but he's definitely going to need a yellow to be able to catch back up. Meanwhile, whoa, what's happening with Brian Lovell in the 043? He just went up the track. He's hugging the outside wall. This might be a disconnect of hardware or something. Maybe his game froze or, oh, he's able to get down to the inside of the racetrack, but boy, we got some interesting stuff going on here. Brian Lovell, last couple of races has been really good. Scored a top 5 run, actually. I believe it was 2 races ago.
Yep, something.
And it looks like he's off the track.
So I'm being told a definite hardware issue. I guess something happened and his wheel completely calibrated.
Oh, contact there. Terry Bombard and John Godfrey. Oh,
Oh
Palmer.
my gosh.
Wow, we are fishtailing all over the place here. Godfrey with a save. Palmer with a save. Metallic was hoping that was going to be something so he could catch back up, but great job hanging on to it there by a couple of drivers. And very fortunate as well. Obviously, hard luck for Brian Lovell, but the good news, I guess, was the fact he was on that outside line and had a lane to be able to go up to the outside wall without taking somebody out. If he'd been in the middle of a 3-wide situation, that could have been an entirely different story.
Oh, yeah.
Making more contact further back there. I think Garland Oaks may have traded a little paint with the Crayola number 23 car of Doug Hewlett.
This is getting a little out of control here.
Yeah, these guys, you'd think they were at 8 laps to go rather than 8 laps in. Jeremy Jeffries now out in front, and they're about to catch Josh Metallic. You saw him right there in the tri-oval as the field thundered into the front straightaway. Ulysses Sandoval is now slotted into second place. Kelly Causey now to third, and Glenn Harris now breaking up into the top 5 side by side for fourth with Bernie Mobbs. And here comes the defending champ, Chuck McClure in the 17 with help from Tim Nofsker. It's been a long time since we've had a driver go back-to-back in championships. Chuck McClure trying to be the latest driver to accomplish that feat as we're going 4 wide, going around now the slow lap machine of Josh Metallic. Well, you were hoping for it. There it is. Thank you, Jim Carrey. Now, Josh is currently 1 lap down, but he is the only driver a lap down. They do, under every yellow, have 2 free passes that they give out. Josh would be in line for one of those, so race is still not over. I'm going to be curious to see. I don't know if he's so far off the pace right now with having been by himself that he won't be able to latch on to the pack or not, but this would be a telltale sign. If he's able to stay with this group, if he's able to kind of at least hold court or move up through the field, give us an idea of how up to speed he is after that rear-end impact as we nearly just had a wreck at the front. The one of Jeremy Jeffries, I don't know if you saw it, but that one car was almost spinning around off the nose of the 96 there in 3 and 4.
I'm not sure if you made a note of it, but that the 39 has been lapped.
Yep, did make the note of that there. He's in a lucky dog spot. Where's Denny Carroll?
He's not that far ahead of the leaders.
Coming out of turn 2, Fields in the middle of turn 1, so he'll be caught pretty soon. But all the rest of the remaining 29 drivers are in this lead pack, so Metallic and Denny Carroll, at least for a good portion of this race, would be in the lucky dog spots when and if the 41 car does get lapped. Talked about the fact that this is an opportunity, 2 more races for drivers that are no longer in the championship hunt to be able to get a checkered flag. Look at some of these drivers we've got up here. Mentioned about Ulysses Sandoval in second place. A little further back, you've got Terry Bombard holding down the 6th position. Mike Mangialardi right behind him in the 7th spot. Keith Bynum in the 63. Number of drivers up here that maybe could get that first win of their Talladega Challenge career. Also nice to see David Cannon, better known here in the RTG community as Bones. I saw him there. Yeah, he's up on that outside line in front of Glenn Harris. He's in the field here tonight. Nice to see that double 0-3 on the racetrack this evening.
Yeah, you don't usually see him a lot, and there he is up there trying to get up to the front and battle.
There's Denny Carroll going a lap down. Yeah, we've seen a number of drivers that we've not seen on the racetrack very often, returned to the track at certain points this season. Dante Ricky's made a couple of starts. We saw David Lawson a few weeks ago make his return to the series, and now David Cannon here this evening as Jeremy Jeffries continues to show the way in car number 1. Now, if we were talking about a couple of seasons ago, we would be mentioning 2 former champions and 2 drivers looking for their first championship in this series. But 2 seasons ago, season 61, it was Jeremy Jeffries clinching his very first championship in the Talladega Challenge Series. He pretty much won a championship in every other series. He had a bare bones championship, he had a Wednesday night championship, a Tuesday night championship, but he never could seem to quite get that Thursday night championship. Finally got it, and now he's looking to be a multi-time champion here in this series.
And we'll see if he'll be able to do it. Fighting still long. You see Ulysses up here. We all know how impatient Ulysses is when it comes to getting a lead and blocking on super speedways.
He's going to see that outside line being led by Mark Paglia. If he's able to get up in front, he might try and make the move there on Jeremy Jeffries for the top position. Paglia currently helping the 17 of Chuck McClure. And for those that are wondering who is the one driver in the Final Four that has not yet won a championship in this series, that would be Tim Nofsker in the 088. So if you're statistically looking for an underdog, a driver that has not yet reached the pinnacle of championship here in this series, you would probably be rooting for Tim Nofsker here in these final 2 races. So I'm looking back there at Josh Metallic, Michael, and he's not lost touch with the lead pack. However, he's not been able to really draft up to the back bumper of the car in front of him, that being Bob Dixon. So I think it holds true. He's got a car that can be up to speed in the pack, but only if he's got someone behind pushing him. So Josh might have to call in some favors here if he's able to get back on the lead lap.
Has the 41 been lapped yet?
Yes, he has.
Has he gotten in line ahead of the 39?
Yes. He's right now actually behind the number 21, driven by Randy Waugh.
Luigi?
There you go. I fed you one.
Yeah. It's the first time you mentioned him. Usually you go through the starting lineup, but you didn't this time.
I didn't. You could have gone through the starting lineup.
No, that's your job, not mine.
Okay. It's below your pay grade? Or above your pay grade?
Yes.
Okay. Mark Paglia.
No. Is that above your pay grade or below your pay grade? I have a pay grade.
I pay grade on a curve. Oh, man. Every time that these drivers hit that yellow line right on the apron off turn 2, they wash up the racetrack, and there's not a whole lot of room to be able to recover. Jeremy Jeffries, the latest victim there, almost got up into Chuck McClure, as now Mark Paglia out in front in the 28. 2 wins on the season, got eliminated from the playoffs 2 weeks ago, but still trying to pick up what would be a 3rd win of the season, which would be a career high for Mark Paglia here, a season career high, I should say, in the Talladega Challenge Series. And look who's behind him, McClure and Nofsker. These 2 found each other. They've made their way up to the front, so a little co-opetition right now. But again, remember, they are also battling for the championship, so you can only work together for so long. Do I tempt fate, Michael?
No.
No?
No, you don't.
Okay.
Oh, battle for the here comes Chuck McClure to the inside now.
Well, I think the reason, I'm not tempting fate, I'm just simply pointing this out. I think the reason that McClure and Nofsker made the move down there to the inside line is because we're about to complete the 17th lap. We're on the eve of potential green flag pit stops.
Is it Christmas Eve?
Not quite. We're getting there. Speaking of Christmas, be sure to tune in on December 19th, as we'll be bringing you coverage of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Christmas race here on FRN. I believe it's going to be these Aero 88 cars at the Michigan Nextel Winter Racetrack. Always a exciting special event they hold here at RTG. And sometimes those special events mean just as much to win as a league race or a league championship. As I think we've got some radios lighting up. Some drivers might be planning on making the early dive onto pit road right now.
Let's see. Yep, here comes our leader.
Chuck McClure, Ulysses Sandoval, Mike Mangialardi, Hewlick, Javier Negron, Graham McDonald, Denny Carroll, and Randy Waugh.
Luigi. They all got onto pit road pretty nice. Good thing I wasn't out there.
Or Josh Mercurio.
Well, you're almost going to say Metallic.
I almost did. I caught myself.
If you would have said it, you would have had no choice but to
play the clip? Yeah, nope. I dodged a bullet there. There's Bob Dixon going a lap down. He pitted the lap prior. Usually the case. We usually see the Dixon brothers on pit road before everybody else. Let's see who makes the dive here of our race leaders.
He who makes a dive makes the last lap.
Bunch of drivers here. Oh, we got spinners in the back. Bobby Farrell, David Cannon, and John Godfrey flies in and gets the 92. We also have a spin further up there. Donnie Garrett, Keith Bynum got collected. Jessica Shelton had to go into the grass to avoid that all.
Hopefully it doesn't give her a penalty.
I think if they make the commitment line, they're fine. They can go out in the grass and it doesn't give them a penalty. So I think it'll be good.
What are you doing?
All that stack up there, too. It'll be interesting to see where Josh Metallic cycles around.
Whoa! In the 24, almost spins coming out of his pit.
Did he have like a pit stall up close to the exit of pit road?
No, the 24 was right towards in the back.
Oh wow, interesting.
I just think he spun his tires.
Yeah, I know that up near the exit of pit road, if you end up gassing it up in first gear, there is a chance that your car will snap around. I didn't know it actually does the same thing towards the back of pit road. So we're focused here on Chuck McClure, Ulysses Sandoval, because they were a couple of the first leaders to pit. We'll see where they cycle to.
See, by the way, Jess did get a 30-second penalty.
Oh, really? That's going to make things interesting for that bracket challenge then. Donnie Garrett back here, side-to-side swerving. I don't know what was going on there. Unless he was just trying to scrub off speed to get Keith Bynum to his back bumper for drafting help. But it looks like, after all is said and done, McClure and Sandoval are going to cycle out to 5th and 6th. Tim Nofsker is going to be the new race leader in the 088 with Paglia, Jeremy Jeffries, and Kelly Causey. Your top 4 broken away for the time being from the rest of the top 10. John Godfrey, who had that contact with Bobby Farrell at the entrance of pit road, has retired from the race. He'll join Brian Lovell. Denny Carroll and Josh Metallic still the only cars one lap down in the free pass positions. Fifth place on back, they are going to catch the leaders. They've got about 6-7 cars to the 4 cars up towards the front. Your microphone's open, buddy.
Ooh, I apologize.
That's okay.
See, you told me.
I just thought maybe you climbed back into your race car and we were hearing the wind blowing through the windows or something.
I climbed back into my spaceship.
Is that what you call your race car, a spaceship? We're going on a trip in our favorite rocket ship.
What? Driving through the sky.
Driving through the field. No, if you're driving through the sky at Talladega, something's gone horribly wrong.
Or you're just Bill Elliott.
That's possible too. So let's take you through your top 10 here after the cycle of pit stops. Going to be a third of the way through. Nofsker the leader, Paglia second, Jeremy Jeffries in third, Kelly Causey fourth, Chuck McClure in fifth. That's 75% of your final 4 inside of the top 5 right now. Ulysses Sandoval in 6th, Bob Seminara 7th, Bernie Mobbs is 8th, Joe DeSpirito 9th, and Glenn Harris right now hanging on to the 10th position. Bit of a ways back here before you get to Donnie Garrett, Doug Kulik, Mike Mangialardi. They're about to reel in Jason Scheck. Eventually they should catch Glenn Harris and then try and latch on to this group that has caught the front 4 now. McClure with the momentum to the inside with Sandoval. He'll be battling with Jeremy Jeffries side by side for the third position.
Don't you mean Sandoval?
You mean Sandoval. I mean Sandoval.
Why are you making them names sound
all
so fancy?
All of the sand or Sandoval?
All of the sand.
I feel like all of the sand, but in Yoda it would be Sandoval. Sandoval it is.
Of all sand, it is.
Bobby Farrell, who had that problem at the entrance of pit road, Jessica Shelton, as Michael documented, had the 30-second penalty. They're about to be reeled in by the leaders. And that would take Denny Carroll and Josh Metallic out of lucky dog positions. And for Shelton, she's just got to make sure she stays ahead of the 39. It could be just by one position. If Shelton finishes ahead of Metallic tonight, she wins the bracket challenge here in season 63. And right now, Josh Metallic, actually, my scoring is showing Josh Metallic 2 laps down now. I'm assuming he lost that second lap, probably having to make a green flag pit stop. Remember, he did not come to pit road when he and Denny Carroll had the incident on the back straightaway, and he had already lost a lap under green before the field came down for the first cycle. So that puts Josh at an even bigger deficit, not only for the bracket challenge, but also for the championship overall. And I mean, Michael, you look at the situation right now. Obviously, there's still plenty of race to go. There is a chance still for Josh Metallic. We start getting close to the end of this race, that chance goes away. But how much pressure do you think that's got to be for somebody right now, knowing that you're maybe looking forward at next week's finale in a must-win situation, knowing that maybe even if you win the race, you may not win the championship because it's not a win-and-you're-in situation in this final round?
No, it's not actually, which is why I said you've got to position yourself in the right spot to gain as much points as you can, Seth. I mean, me and you both as racers, if we if we know that we can't quite make it there, like obviously we're gonna be trying to get up and get a win, but you know in the back of your mind, okay, if I can't, then let me think of plan B, which is to get myself in a good points position.
And you look at the situation right now for the remaining 3 playoff contenders of the Final Four that are up here inside of the top 10. They're in close proximity. Nofsker's leading. Jeffrey's just a couple cars back in 3rd place, and that attempt on the inside line stalled out for McClure. He dropped back to 8th, but all 4 championship contenders came into tonight tied with 1,000 points apiece. And so right now, if we were looking at live scoring, I believe Tim Nofsker would have 2 points over Jeremy Jeffries heading into that finale, 8 points over Chuck McClure. When you consider the fact that tonight and next week are super speedway races, anything can and will happen, and a lot of points on the table with big fields every single week. To your point, Michael, no room for error. That means on the racetrack, and that also means on pit road. We've already seen some drivers have some issues on pit road on that first cycle of pit stops. If we continue to trend green and have a second, maybe a third round of pit stops, execution on pit road is going to be prime. And not the sports drink by Logan Paul.
No, please, no. Don't you even mention him on this site.
And
I mean, look, did you hear the Grinch even howled at you?
The Grinch was angry. Well, the lucky dog position conversation is going to get even more interesting because Greg Palmer and Randy Waugh waiting.
Luigi.
There it is. Wow.
Luigi!
You said that so unenergetic or something. Like
that's what I was like. My instinct was to say it, and that's why I said it the second time with enthusiasm.
Ah, okay. But they're about to get caught by the leaders here, and that'll make it interesting in the battle for the free pass spot between them, Jessica Shelton, Bobby Farrell, who are at the tail end of this lead group. Denny Carroll is still scored 1 lap down. Let's see if he's been able to find. Looks like Metallic's got a drafting partner there with Garland Oaks, albeit 2 laps down for Metallic. Denny Carroll has been able to latch onto this group with David Cannon and Cy Jones. So they at least have drafting partners. They are not all by their lonesome now. If you're just joining us, we have been green flag since the start, but not without incident. We had trouble on the back straightaway. Denny Carroll into Josh Metallic. Denny Carroll caught air. Metallic backed it into the inside wall. And they have not had the benefit of a yellow to be able to allow them to get back on the same strategy as the rest of the race leaders. Tim Nofsker has led the most laps so far. He's about to complete his 10th circuit out in front. Bernie Mobbs has led 6 laps after starting from the provisional pole. Mark Paglia has led 3. Jeremy Jeffries 4. 2 laps led for Terry Bombard and
drivers are coming
Denny
up on
Carroll.
Drivers are coming up on these 2 sets that are about to be lap. Now I think that's going to take the 9 and them out of contention until they're able to get past them.
Yep. So it'll be a 4-way fight for 2 lucky dog positions. Also, Chuck McClure and I think it said Glenn Harris have led a lap each. So that means that the 3 drivers up here of our final 4 competing for the championship have all led at least 1 lap. So that cancels out the bonus point that each one of them would have gotten. Now the fight is on to try and get the extra bonus point for most laps led, which currently would be Tim Nofsker. We got a second pack. We're looking here at the top. I believe this is the top 15 in this lead group. And then you've got to go 11 seconds back before you find the second pack right here with Jeff Crivello, Rodney Sullins, Bob Dixon, Keith Bynum, Terry Bombard, and Graham McDonald. We already talked about a number of drivers that had issues on pit road or issues on the racetrack prior to the green flag pit stops that were clamoring for a caution to save them. I think you can add another dozen drivers to that list now who all would love to see a caution to be able to catch back up and have a shot still at this victory. If we continue to trend green, very unlikely they're going to be able to make up 11 plus seconds. It's now actually climbed to 12 seconds on the race leaders. There's no pit strategy that can gain you that kind of time at a super speedway.
It seems that we've reached the part of the race where, we have our first round of pit stops, and this is where you see where the mistakes are made by drivers who aren't up in this lead pack. But this is the part where it gets super, I don't want to say one-sided, but it gets super single file is what I was trying to say. And, if you were to quote like Larry McReynolds and even Darrell Waltrip, it's hard to just pull out and make a pass when you're running single file like this.
Yeah, unless you know that you're going to have, 4 or 5 drivers that are going to go with you. I don't think 2 drivers can do it by themselves. I don't even really think 3 drivers can do it by themselves because you see that Tim Nofsker, the Pied Piper of the field right now, is running that middle groove, putting his left sides almost down in the lower set of white hash marks. That's the preferred lane here, especially if we're getting the run off the corner. Now, the one thing I will point out, Michael, is the fact that we are single file. It does not mean that we are safe in not seeing trouble, because when there's single file, especially going into a corner, that usually leads to a bunch of checkup. And we've seen that happen in the past where it looks like everyone's settled in, getting ready for the next green flag pit stop, and then just one little miscue, one little burp of the throttle too much, thank you, Jim, and we end up having a yellow flag come out.
I'm glad Jim Carrey agrees with you.
If we end up having a wreck, I hope Jim Carrey goes, ooh, at the moment it happens, because
I would have to just stop talking at that point. Nah, but in respect to being a professional commentator that I sometimes am, I will turn it down.
I remember there was, I think it was an iRacing event at Daytona. Oh, Jeremy's going for the lead here, or trying to. Oh, they just shuffled out Mark Paglia. No love for Dale Jarrett, or Lake Speed. I think that's actually a Lake Speed car. But there was a race that was at Daytona, and somebody got turned and shot off to the right side of the screen, and my professional call in it was just, yo! That was literally all I said. I don't know what kind of a reaction that was, but that was what I said.
I said what I said.
I said what I said, and there's no going back.
Seth, I have actually a bit of a history lesson I want to tell our chat, if you don't mind.
Okay.
For those of you watching, did you know that the Big Bird almost died in the Challenger accident?
I actually did know that. I was told this by our broadcast colleague and boss, Matthew Rodriguez, mere seconds
did you also know that Big Bird
before a broadcast.
Kicked down your front door,
too? I found that out mere seconds before a broadcast as well. And then he wanted me to go into professional mode for a broadcast. He really knows how to season his commentaries, I tell you what. We love you, Matt.
Do we? I'm just kidding. Yes, we do.
Field has migrated from the middle of the racetrack down to the bottom again. So we must be getting ready for green flag pit stops. Keep an eye on that 17 of Chuck McClure back there. The 7th car in line, along with Ulysses Sandoval. They were some of the first leaders to make the dive onto pit road during the first cycle, so I would assume they'll be some of the first takers this cycle. We are, what, about maybe 1 or 2 laps, I think, away from when we're going to see some of these front runners make the dive onto pit lane here.
It's very possible, but Seth, this is going to make the fuel interesting because they come in now. They're going to have to pit with about 10 laps to go.
Yep, they cannot
Give or
make it the
take.
rest of the way. And the window would be open for them, when they'd want to make that pit stop. As I saw just up ahead, it looked like Garland Oaks and Josh Metallic. Josh is 2 laps down right now. If he goes a third lap down, I don't see any way that he's able to mount a comeback, especially with the number of drivers we already have minus 1 lap down. And we're into the second half of this race as well. So now if you're Josh Metallic, you're hoping for a race of attrition. You want to see drivers smoking on the tow hook out of this race before the conclusion. Vulture yourself a couple more points here and try and stop the bleeding of what will be a huge points gap of you to the rest of your Championship 4 competitors next week. Gonna drop back here.
Oh, here comes Ulysses.
Yep,
Ulysses
Sandoval's
down.
coming in.
Sand Oval is coming down.
Whoa! And he is sliding.
Oh, I hope that little slide didn't mess up his speed or any, get him a black flag.
Or mess up his tires. I think very few drivers here in this race change tires on green flag pit stops. They just go with the fuel only. But if you smoke those Goodyears coming into pit road, especially that right front, you may end up having to change tires, as here come a trio of others there. Denny Carroll, David Cannon, and Cy Jones. Now, Nofsker, I think he was third when the first green flag pit stop cycle began, and he emerged as the race leader, so he was really good on pit road. Let's see if he's able to do it again, as here he makes the dive to pit lane with Jeremy Jeffries and a host of others. Whoa, almost 4 wide coming to pit road there. DeSpirito, Paglia, Mobbs, and Garrett nearly 4 wide at the entry. I believe Kelly Causey in the 00 may have stayed out, so he's going to be the race leader as more drivers coming in. Bynum, Sullins, Crivello, and Bombard. And, yep, there's Kelly Causey. Stayed out the extra lap. It's like...
Watch them. Let's see where things can cycle around here. Seth, if you had to name one person who is good with when it comes to making pit stops, who would that person be?
The best at making pit stops? He's not in the field here tonight, but that'd be Grant Wesley.
Okay. Who else do you think besides him?
Boss.
Who is in this field?
Who is in this field?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. There's a number of drivers I've seen be able to gain track position on pit road. Jeremy Jeffries is one. Nofsker, obviously, we saw here tonight. I feel like Chuck McClure usually is able to gain a lot of spots on pit road.
Say that again? Because I was looking through the field.
I would say like Jeffries, Nofsker, McClure are some of the ones that kind of I remember seeing a lot of times they're able to jump up multiple spots. Wow, that's a shove right there that Nofsker gave to Jeremy Jeffries. That might have stalled him out a little bit. Look at the run DeSpirito's going to get. Bob Seminara, Donnie Garrett on the way as well. And DeSpirito is going to be the new leader with that push from Bob Seminara, as we're going to swing our way around some of the merging cars here in turn 1. There's the pass for the lead right there. Causey was the leader. DeSpirito now goes to the point. Joe DeSpirito, a former winner on the season. He got eliminated back in the first round of the playoffs. Multi-time champion.
Seth, look at this field if you want to go down through the list here. We have a lot of cars a lap down right now, and as much as I'm going to knock on wood and not jinx it, we haven't had a caution.
We have
even
not.
Get him back on the lead lap.
We've got, last time by, 21 of our 30 cars running on the lead lap.
And there goes Metallic.
There's Metallic coming out of pit road. And we're going to see Terry Bombard on pit road here momentarily. He was hit with a speeding penalty. Tough break there for him. He was, I believe, 15th when the pit stop cycle was completed. So he'll lose track position. May, depending on where 15th place was, he may end up falling off the lead lap with the pass through. But up here at the front, you've got all former winners on the season. DeSpirito, Seminara, Donnie Garrett, all have gone to victory lane. Same for Jeffries and Nofsker and Paglia, rather. Highest running driver that has not gone to victory lane yet this season is that Krispy Kreme number 8 of Glenn Harris. He is in the 8th position currently.
Not bad. I mean, I'm looking at the top 3, and there's a lot of 7s.
There are definitely a lot of 7s. There's a couple of 2s there as well. And then a 1 and a 4.
And then a bunch of 8s.
If we drop back here and look at the battle for the free pass position, Greg Palmer, currently 22nd in the 22, is the first car 1 lap down. Jessica Shelton right behind him in 2nd place. So those 2 drivers currently are in the free pass positions. A couple of cars behind them is the 21 of Randy Waugh. And then a little further back is the 92 of Bobby Farrell. Those are the only 4 drivers in this lead pack eligible to battle for the lucky dog.
So, I was pointed out a random fact for you by Jess. She said all the dark horses are around each other.
Oh, you're right. For those that are wondering what that means, if you didn't tune into our coverage last Saturday night in the mega team race for Full Throttle Racing, the eventual champions, we can actually announce that if you tuned into that and you were wondering, the champions were the Blue Dark Horse Mustangs. Kelly Causey, Mark Paglia, Jessica Shelton, Greg Palmer taking that team championship, and there you see they're broken up by Glenn Harris, but the 28, the 00, the 22, and the 9 all lined up right there. So the Dark Horse Mustang team have found each other here in the RTG race.
Interesting to point out.
Yeah.
As well.
Not a single one of them are in a Ford Mustang, though. Actually, I don't think any of them are in a Ford. Oh, no, Paglia is in a Ford. But Kelly Causey's in a... Was that an Oldsmobile? Palmer's in a Chevy, and Jess is in a Chevy. So Mark's the only one holding true to the Fords. Now, you alluded to, Michael, that final pit stop, if they want to stretch it the furthest they can, somewhere in the vicinity of about 10 laps to go. But when we hit about lap 46, lap 47, windows open. You could come to pit road, make it the rest of the way. Now, probably nobody's going to come to pit road that early on because you want to take on the least amount of fuel possible for the final pit stop. But if somebody wants to have a little bit of alternative strategy, that is a potential option.
It is.
And you just saw
Now,
Terry
Seth,
Bombard going a lap down there. I don't mean to cut you off, but I was just going to say he's going to get bypassed. So he will go a lap down, but he will fall out of a lucky dog position there with the 22 and the 9 going by.
So, Seth, given how you saw how this race has gone,
yep,
caution-free,
yep,
for these leaders, so you're still on the lead lap, what's your strategy? Do you come down early to make it to the end, where even if cautions come out, all you got to do is just clutch? Or do you still wait to run it out so you take the less fuel?
I think you want to take the less amount of fuel. I think that's going to be the general consensus for most of your front runners because you don't want to run the risk, if this thing does go green to the end, that you come down pit road when the window opens, nobody else does it, you're all by yourself. What happened to Chuck McClure? He's just now gone a lap down. I didn't notice him have an issue on pit road, but he was all by himself, and he is going to fall off the lead lap.
He might have gotten a penalty, Seth.
Maybe he got a speeding penalty. It didn't pop up on my...
I was going to say, do you have the statistics?
I have the statistics, but sometimes it'll show if somebody gets a black flag. Other times it won't. So if he did get a black flag penalty, it did not show up on my telemetry. But that's huge for Chuck McClure, who had a strong car here tonight, was up inside the top 10 all evening long. And now, not only is he a lap down, but he is currently about the 4th or 5th car -1. So he's currently not in a free pass position. Jason Scheck as well now going a lap down in the 22. He was having a great night prior to the pit stop. So, man, pit road is not taking prisoners this evening. And while Chuck is currently in the 24th position, not nearly in as bad of a boat as Josh Metallic, who is currently in 30th, 3 laps down. If things continue to trend the way they are, Michael, we may have only a 2-horse race between Jeffries and Nofsker for the championship next week.
It very well could be. You know, and it's like we said, you didn't want to see a bad race, and if for Josh Metallic, it started out bad immediately,
Yeah, not even 10
and
laps in.
you know, yeah, not even 10 laps in. Where is he at right now? He is 3 laps down in 30th place. I mean, I don't really believe unless we have a big wreck. I don't see him gaining any more spots, and that's going to put him, I don't even think, in a must-win situation. I think flat out going into the next race, he's just eliminated.
Yeah, it could very well be, because we talk about it all the time. Got some drivers making some moves here. Randy Waugh there,
Luigi?
as well as Ulysses Sandoval.
Who was Waugh there? It's Waugh Luigi
Waugh Luigi there.
Waugh there, Luigi.
Here a wall, there a wall, everywhere a Waluigi. What was I just talking about? Oh, yeah. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate you, man. But we ended up...
I'm the greatest commentator alive, man.
We've ended up talking about multiple times when we talk, especially in the playoffs around the cut line. Usually all those drivers that are battling to either stay above the cut line or to get up above the cut line for the next round of the playoffs, they always seem to find each other on the racetrack in the same vicinity near the close of the race. In the case of here with our final four, you know, you got Jeremy Jeffries, Tim Nofsker. They've been up around each other all night. Metallic. He had a great qualifying effort and was up there towards the front before he had his misfortune. Chuck McClure, as I said, was up inside the top 10 prior to the problems on pit road that he had. I mean, these drivers were all around each other at the time. If you're Chuck McClure and Josh Metallic next week, yeah, you could go out and win the race, but more than likely, with what we've seen all season long, the 088 and the 1 aren't going to be that far behind inside the top 5, inside the top 10. There's just no way you're going to be able to make up the points gap if they're right on your back bumper. Well, you asked, Michael, about some of the best on pit road in gaining positions. I did not mention the names of Joe DeSpirito and Bob Seminara, and they are pacing the field right now.
This is why, a lot of times, it's a lot of the same people we talk about, in most of these races. But any single person on the lead lap and in this field can win this race.
Yes.
When they take the green flag. So, Joe and them, they seem to always have a strategy where they wait till the final round of pit stops, or just about, to make their way to the front. And a lot of times, this is them getting on and off pit road and their pit crews giving them good stops to put them in this position.
Well, you talk about being on the lead lap and in the lead pack having a shot. We've had, at least 2, maybe 3 races I can think of this season where we've had a wreck at the race lead in the closing stages. So there's no saying, even though we've been green flag here tonight, that we might not see the same thing happen here.
I blinked for a second, and it looked like I saw somebody get turned at the rear of the field, and it was just a lie.
Well, we're watching this battle right here because this is actually an important battle. Greg Palmer, Randy Waugh, Jessica Shelton. This is all for the free pass position. All these drivers 1 lap down, looking to be the first 2 cars -1. And right now, give it to the 22 and the 21. Is Shelton on that outside line trying to get back alongside the door of the 21 car. Chuck McClure back there as well. He's kind of boxed in, trying to make his way up there. Denny Carroll, who is also off the lead lap, but I believe he is 2 laps down. And Bobby Farrell there, along with Jason Scheck, also -1. Some movement up at the front. Oh, Jeremy Jeffries just got shuffled out there. I don't know if Donnie Garrett shuffled him out or if Nofsker shuffled him out. Is this the co-opetition going out the window now? Nofsker saying, all right, Jeffrey, we've worked together this race. Oh, wait, Jeffrey's going to the back. What's going on here?
Yeah, he might know something we don't.
Huh. Yeah, he is.
He might know something we don't.
He is falling way back here now. Kelly Causey doing the same. I thought he got shuffled out, but it almost looks like he went there of his own accord. And, yeah, what does he know that we don't know? The only thing I could possibly think of, Michael, you gave the target number around 10 laps to go. That would be taking on a can of fuel. Are most of these drivers maybe at where they would have to take on a can and a half, and Jeremy thinks if he can save enough, then he would only have to take on the can of fuel, and that would gain him time?
Or he's thinking about the tail end of the pack coming down pit road to try to avoid getting run into from behind.
That's also a very valid point. Yeah, you said it. Manage what you can manage at the beginning of the night. That might be exactly what he's doing. Good call. Well, this looks visibly like a battle for sixth. Oh, caution's out! Yellow flag is out! First caution of the night!
Oh, there's a wreck on the front stretch. David Gannon and Cy Jones.
They had come to pit road together on the second green flag pit stop cycle. I'm assuming they might have been bump drafting each other.
And it looks like at the time of caution, it could be the 22 and the 21, the lucky dogs. Well, I guess we'll see when scoring comes by.
Yeah, scoring has that exact same result on my end. That saved a few drivers, too, that were only about maybe 10 seconds away from going a lap down.
Oh, there's another wreck!
Oh my gosh, you're right. Oh wow, that Jeremy Jeffries is in that. McClure.
Well, so much for going to the back.
Jason Scheck up and over. Bernie Mobbs collected, our provisional pole sitter. And that was after they had taken the caution. Well, didn't take long for it to go from 0 to 100 in terms of intensity here. Closing in on 10 laps to go. Let's take a look at the replay. First of what initially brought out the caution. As I was saying, I believe the Cy Jones and David Cannon, that they were in the same pack together. Yeah, they also had Rodney Sowens and Keith Bynum with them. We'll take it here out of turn 4 as they head to the tri-oval. And is it just bumper grab here? Yeah, it looks like it. Cy Jones was down on that left rear quarter panel of David Cannon. Cannon almost went up and over as his two right side tires came off the ground. But both drivers able to continue. Didn't look like very heavy impact for either of them. And then let's try and find where the wreck would have occurred. We know that 022 was involved. I think Glenn Harris was actually involved too. Let's go a little further up towards the front. There's the 8.
Oh, okay. Randy, okay, well, Jess is a, oh, okay, maybe because he was involved in the wreck, but Jess is a lucky dog. The 22 and the 9 are the lucky dogs.
Nope, round. I just watched it. They were in race back, and Jess, by a photo finish, just barely got Randy Watt at the line there.
Yeah, she just said he's not very happy.
And there's a look at what happened there to bring out this yellow. This was after they were racing back to the caution. Take another look again. It just kind of looks like Bernie Mobbs. I don't know if Glenn slowed up too much. Bernie didn't slow up enough, but then Chuck McClure got into the back of Jeremy Jeffries, sent him down into Bernie Mobbs. I don't think either of them got very much damage, though. However, Chuck McClure would not, obviously, get the free pass, as I just realized that apparently I didn't swap the scene over. My apologies. Let's take another look. There we go. Wow, Chuck was down in the grass there. How he was able to save that, I don't know. Wild ride for Jason Scheck, as we saw. And that is what brings out the first caution of the evening, plus the follow-up wreck there.
And we have 10 laps to go, Seth, and under caution, this you know, it's going to make things a lot interesting on this restart, especially with all the lap cars now behind everybody. They could still, if they're up to speed, play a factor.
It does take pit road out of the equation, though, right? Because now they're going to be able to all come to pit road, be able to make it the rest of the way. So now, basically, you put your cards down the table. Everything's going to happen on the racing surface from here to the checkered flag.
Yep.
See all the lap cars coming down pit road here. It's like Joe DeSpirito won the battle off of pit road, so he'll restart ahead of Donnie Garrett and Bob Seminara. Jason Scheck out of the race after his wild ride there in 1 and 2. He'll join John Godfrey and Brian Lovell, who we had in our chat, saying that he lost calibration. The wheel was gone, so tough break there for Brian, who, as I said, had been on quite a good streak of finishes leading up to tonight, just prior to the Thanksgiving break.
Well, Seth, I feel like before we get to this last little run, we should take a quick breather.
You think we gotta store up our oxygen for what's about to come?
Absolutely.
All right, well, Joe DeSpirito showing the way. We're getting ready for a shootout with less than 10 to go in our first race of the championship 4 here tonight. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Lights out on the Wiley Coat pace car, and we are getting ready to go back green. Looks like it'll be 8 laps to settle this thing out. Joe DeSpirito, the race leader, Donnie Garrett to his outside, Bob Seminara in third. Then you've got our first of our championship 4 and Tim Knopfsker lined up in fourth. How about Ulysses Sandoval and Javier Negron, teammates, making up row number 3. Another of our championship 4 drivers in Jeremy Jeffries holding down the 7th position. Rodney Sullins is now up to 8th, so that caution helped him out a ton. And then Kelly Causey and Mike Mangialardi, that is your top 10. Update on the rest of your Championship 4 drivers. Chuck McClure still trapped 1 lap down. He's in 23rd, and Josh Metallic still 3 laps down. He's the last car running in 29th position.
Man, I'll tell you, I feel like he jinxed himself when he came up to talk to us.
Normally, when he's up with us, and I wish him good luck, normally it pans out well for him. A lot of times we're actually talking with him in the booth in a podium finish after the race. Maybe that was the commentator's curse here tonight. It wasn't us triggering the caution flag coming out. It was us jinxing the 39. But here we go, getting ready to go green. Keep an eye on the top left of your screen. We do have lap cars, so completion of lap 6 will be a point of no return. If we end up having another caution prior to that, we would at least get another restart here to close out the night.
I just felt a lot of lag on my end, at least in TeamSpeak, so I don't know 100% if it's fixed, though.
I think the lag's on my end.
Okay, yeah, because I heard a lot of
I just saw my quality.
Voice.
Yep, I just saw my quality go to red, and I think we're good now. Brief lag. But we should be good. Apologies for that. It actually didn't transfer over to the NR side, so that's good. At least we didn't have a bunch of shimmying cars. Joe DeSpirito now to the middle line with Donnie Garrett. Seminara, the leader of the inside line. Chuck McClure moving up there to the outside. Still something to race for the 17, because if we are able to get that yellow flag prior to the point of no return, he wants to be in one of those 2 free pass positions. Right now, he's battling with the 92 of Bobby Farrell, the 10 of Terry Bombard, who I believe he has bypassed both of those machines at this time. I believe he is the first car 1 lap down now, so he isn't a free pass. He is hoping to look up at that flag stand and see a caution flag in the hand of the race official.
It's not even so much of looking at the flag stand, it's just looking at the racing lights.
Yep, that too. Right now, green is not McClure's favorite color, as Rodney Sullins making a move there on Javier Negron. Doug Hewlett's going to go up there with him. They're going to need more numbers, though.
They got a 3rd lane coming, but that might be a bunch of lap cars.
That's Keith Bynum. No, that's actually lead lap machines there. Bynum, Graham McDonald, then the lap car of Chuck McClure. That's Tim Knopfsker moving down there in front of Javier Negron. He's going to get to the inside of Donnie Garrett. Man, that's tight off of turn 2. DeSpirito goes down to cover the inside line. Look at Rodney try to go to the 3rd line. Couldn't do it. Hewlett's leading that. Oh, we are slicing and dicing here in the closing stages. These drivers know we're getting to that point of no return. They want to position themselves in the right spot. Garrett's going backwards along with Sullins. They're in the proverbial sucker hole. No help in the middle line for those 2 cars. Hewlett still trying to make something happen in the 3rd lane, as right now DeSpirito holding off Knopfsker. We're 4 wide back here. Garrett and McClure banging doors. McClure up into Graham McDonald. We're still making contact. And McClure's going to go up into Bernie Mobbs. They all stay straight. Randy was spinning, and there we go. That's the caution. We're going to go back up to the front. Knopfsker moving to the outside on Joe DeSpirito. Javier Negron's going to stay with the 24. Big shove from Bob Seminara. Javier Negron looking for his first career win in this series, trying to get around a multi-time champion. DeSpirito no longer in the championship hunt. Negron moves low, jumps high. He's going to have Sandoval to help. Seminara's going to be there for Joe DeSpirito. As coming to the caution, the proverbial checkers, Joe DeSpirito's going to pick up the victory.
I'm going to laugh so hard if we just randomly get a 1-lap shootout.
I don't think it's going to happen. We got lap cars. And we just came to, if we had been coming to the completion of lap 61, I'd have given you maybe a possibility that we were going to end up getting a 1-lap shootout. But the fact we hit 62's completion, I just don't see that happening. So DeSpirito's going to pick up the win, provided he's able to complete these final 3.5 laps here under pacing. Seminara's going to come home with 2nd, and a career high for Javier Negron. He's going to bring it home in 3rd place here tonight. Jeremy Jeffrey's going to be the highest finisher of the championship 4, as he'll finish in P4. Knopfsker will finish in 8th, so I believe with Knopfsker leading the most laps, it'll be 3 points the separation from Jeffries to Knopfsker heading into the finale next week. McClure's going to finish 23rd tonight, 1 lap down, and Josh Metallic, well, Josh might finish in 28th. He's right now being scored in 29th, but David Cannon just retired out of the race, and there are enough laps where Josh Metallic would be able to bypass Cannon on the running order and move up 1 position. Granted, it's 1 position, 1 point, but I think we're going to be having to throw both the 17 and the 39 into must-win situation next week.
I don't think
even in the fact that a win may not guarantee it.
I don't think a must-win is even going to be enough, to be honest.
Well, must-win and a lot of help. Engine failures for the 1 and double 088. That's the only way it's going to work.
They would have to have at least 30 cars show up, which is a normal for this series.
Yep.
And then have the leaders finish in the bottom 5.
Yeah, the bottom. Well, yeah. Plus, you'd have to probably, I would think, lead the most laps. as well. I don't know how important that bonus point would be. Well, Despirito got eliminated in the first round of these playoffs. Wasn't even able to advance into the round of 8. But that kind of alleviated the pressure of him having to worry about points. He was able to just go out here, be aggressive, and win. He got the race lead after the second round of green flag pit stops. Restarted as the leader on the final restart. And he's going to close out the deal. And Jessica Shelton got that free pass under the last yellow. Fought her way back up to 15th. Metallic with his early issues. We will not have a rematch next week for the Bracket Challenge. Jessica Shelton could be the official Season 63 Bracket Challenge champion here in RTG. Stay tuned for FRN post-race wind-down, as we will be talking with our podium finishers, Despirito, Seminara, and Negron.
I think for YouTube's purposes, we should just call him Javier.
Javier? Nah.
YouTube's guidelines. We just can't spell his name in NR, that's okay.
Yeah. Well, folks, if it goes without saying, but we're going to say it anyway, join us next Thursday night. Championship on the line. Tonight's first race of this final round, very unpredictable, especially in terms of our Championship 4 drivers. Next week, I think, will be no exception. Can Metallic and McClure get themselves back into this conversation, or is it going to be Jeffries versus Nofsker for the title? Next Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on FRN. As you just saw right there, they crossed the line for 2 laps to go. The lights would have had to have gone off right there for us to get a 1-lap shootout. So this means that the race will officially be ending under the caution flag. And you're probably wondering, well, why are we watching them pacing here right now? Well, the big reason is this race isn't over. Something random could happen. I don't obviously wish any ill will on any driver, but mechanics could go awry or something like that. So we'd have to make absolutely certain that they're going to be able to close out the deal here under pacing. You know, you think about it here too, Michael, and I don't know how much of a believer you are in this as a racer, but you get eliminated from a certain round. Let's say you're eliminated in the first round of the playoffs, and the highest finishing points position you can have at the close of the season is 9th place. Is that something that drivers that are eliminated in a certain round gun for, is saying, you know, that's the highest position I can actually get. I'm going to try and be that driver.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And Jess actually pointed out something to me just now. There's a lot of things that she's accomplished in her life, in her racing career. And now she can add another first to that list.
Can indeed.
Being a Bracket Series champion.
Absolutely. Bracket Challenge, I think, is maybe one of the harder championships to win because you're going up against a different driver every single week. I mean, you end up making the playoffs. You can look around and say, all right, these are the 11, 12 drivers that I'm going up against. You advance to the round of 8. Okay, these are the 7 drivers I have to keep an eye on. You advance to the final 4. Okay, these are the other 3 competitors I have to keep an eye on. But every single week in the Bracket Challenge, it's where's that one driver that I'm battling here this week? You don't even look ahead. You're just looking at that one driver that you have to take on week after week after week, and it continually changes. And remember, Jess also ended up winning the winner's side of the bracket, so she had to kind of wait for 3-4 weeks for the loser side of the bracket to get settled out before she even knew who her opponent was going to be here in this final round of the playoffs. Eventually, it ended up being the 39 of Josh Metallic, so she wasn't able to really do a whole lot of scouting of her opponent because she didn't know who it was going to be until the conclusion of the last time out's race prior to Thanksgiving.
Yeah. You know, it's a lot of these races, man. This is racing has been the family that I think has brought us all really together.
Yes. It's the glue that binds.
When you're thinking of Thanksgiving, you can't be any more thankful than the racing community.
True. Very true. Let me talk about the Bracket Challenge. Joe Despirito, a multi-time Bracket Series champion. And he's going to be a multi-time winner this season as well. As that last time by was the white flag displayed over car number 24. I wonder if Joe's going to say the classic line, rinse and repeat here tonight.
Rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat. That's his motto.
Arrive, rinse and repeat, leave.
Oh, the Florida gang going to get a 1-2 finish here tonight.
Arrive, raise hail, praise Dale, and leave.
Spirito and Bob Seminara, we were used to prior to when the rule implemented for Lotto Q was put in effect. Used to seeing these drivers up starting, if not on the front row, very close to it. Random qualifying draw is really kind of thrown them for a bit of a curveball, but they've seemed to figure it out here.
Especially when somebody named Seth Cole gets the pole.
That's right.
For no reason.
It's really difficult to follow behind somebody as legendary as that. I love the fact you are immediately agreeing with me.
We forgot. No, it wasn't Seth Cole. It was Christopher Pierce.
Oh, that's true.
It was the legend himself.
The legend, the man, the myth, the legend. Well, Joe DeSpirito about to cross the line. Second win on the season. He'll take the checkered flag here tonight at Talladega Super Speedway. Jessica Shelton will cross the line as the Bracket Challenge champion, and Jeremy Jeffries will have 3 points in hand over Tim Nofsker for the championship heading into next week's season finale. Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway, where that championship is ultimately going to be decided. It's been the pretty much decider the entire season. It was the regular season finale. It was the elimination races in the playoffs. Talladega has, in a sense, set the table for those races, and boy, it's set quite an appetizer here tonight, taking no favorites concerning the playoff four. Both Chuck McClure and Josh Metallic, former champions, going to find themselves behind the 8 ball heading into next week to keep their championship hopes alive. And oh yeah, by the way, there's going to be another 30-some-odd drivers out there on the racetrack besides the Final Four, looking to get that final checkered flag of the season as well. As Joe DeSpirito going to bring it around to the start-finish line, and he'll get to burn it down here in Talladega, Alabama. If I remember correctly, Joe normally would do the reverse burnouts. I wonder if we're going to get some reverse burnouts here.
I thought he was trying. It looked for a second like he was.
Yeah, these are normal burnouts. Oh, here we go. There we go. There we go. There's the signature DeSpirito reverse burnouts.
Close enough.
You know, it'd be really weird if the front tire started smoking.
Right.
All right, now that he is certifiably dizzy, there's Jessica Shelton there, celebrating her championship. Gonna do a little dual burnout, it looks like, right here. Well, so we'll now head into our FRN post-race wind-down and get ready to dial up tonight's top 3 finishers. We'll also see if we are able to potentially get a word with our Bracket Series champion, Jessica Shelton, here in a little bit. Matter of fact, let's jump the gun. Let's see if we can dial her up right now, and then we'll get to our podium finishers here this evening.
Buddy was moved to your
Hey,
channel.
Jess, Michael, and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, I'm typing.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead while I'm typing.
Okay. Well, fortunately, we didn't have to have you flung up into the booth via the catch fence here tonight. You bring it home in the 15th position, but ultimately claimed the bracket championship here this evening. All that you need to do was finish ahead of the 39 car, but a bit of an adventurous way of getting there, too. Had the 30-second penalty on pit road. In a photo finish, got the free pass on what was going to ultimately be the final restart caution. and then battle your way back up on the lead lap. I mean, I know Josh was kind of taken out in the early going, but how much did you still have to keep your head in the game just in case he was able to catch a timely caution, get back in the lead lap, and be a contender again?
Yeah, when that wreck happened earlier on in the race, I was starting to mid to back away, and I fell to the back. I figured I was just right because of how hectic it was getting in front of me, and just see where the pieces fall. And then when Josh got taken out, I said to Seminara, I said, something about how that was weird. I was, kind of concerned about what might happen here. And then he said that Josh got taken out, and that, might be a good win for the bracket, And I'm like, well, you never know. I could have gotten a blown engine or something like that, and you know what I mean? Or I could have been wrecked out, and he could have just passed me. Even he might have been laps down, but he still could have passed me. So I just kept going, and then well, what happened that got me a lap down was Josh accidentally kind of like slightly grabbed my bumper at the very end of the coming into pit road, and that knocked me out into the grass. So I just figured, well, on the lap down, he's going to keep riding here, and then as you alluded to, the getting the lap back. Yeah, that was kind of a photo finish with with Greg and Randy and myself. That was actually quite fun.
Yeah, Michael and I were talking about, the championship that's decided next week, but those championship four kind of controlling what they could control here tonight, not put themselves in a bad situation. You alluded to it right there in the problem on pit road and everything. Obviously, something out of your control. You fell a lap down, but were you also of that kind of same mentality of control what you can control? Don't put yourself in a bad position.
Yeah, you just gotta be patient, even though you might have like 40 or 30 or 20 laps. You never know what can happen. You just gotta be constantly patient, make smart decisions. Don't be too overly aggressive, otherwise it can take you completely out of the game and just mess up your mindset going forward.
You and I, we were talking about this off broadcast the last couple of weeks. You kind of had to kind of wait on the back burners, see your opponent was going to be here in this final battle in the bracket challenge. But Michael alluded to some in-car audio from you and everything. I mean, obviously, we heard that this means an awful lot to you here tonight. I mean, something is tough to win as a bracket challenge with all the different multifacets of opponent versus opponent each and every week. I mean, we'll give you the opportunity here on broadcast to tell just how much it means.
Oh, I mean, Seth, you and Michael and a couple of other people know what's coming. You guys already know like the end scoop on that, and that we'll reveal that like later on down the line. But still, to have the bracket, I race the bracket series whenever it pops up. Like, okay, I don't really care if I'm gonna race this guy or not. I don't care. I just want to race and try to get top 10 and see what falls. That's my mentality racing RTG constantly. Um, I mean, it's overwhelming to think that now I've got a bracket championship. I just remaining calm, cool, and collect the whole season. Grabbing that, putting that in my resume, which extends pretty well, and especially at this point, 10 going on 10, 11 years now, Seth, between you and myself on NR. I mean, it means a lot, especially with everything that's happening and coming up.
Well, congratulations on the job well done. Well deserved. Fought hard this entire season. Obviously, one more race still to go, too. So maybe we get to talk to you next week in Victory Lane to close out the
Yeah, right.
season. Hey, you never know. You
Yeah.
never know. It might happen.
You're wishing for a lot to happen between now and then.
Yeah, but sometimes the commentator's curse isn't a curse. So I could be speaking into
Is
fruition. You
Michael
never
still
know.
here?
No, I left like 2 minutes ago.
Michael, you hear him. He's already saying it, so if it happens, it's his fault now.
Yep, exactly. I know this, and he knows it
It's
too.
not a prediction. It's a spoiler. I'm not Paul Heyman.
You're not Paul.
Also, it's a copyright, huh?
Paul
Ladies and
Heyman does not
gentlemen,
approve this message.
my name is Paul Heyman, and I am a certified Gina bona fide stud.
Wow, you went there. So I guess now we just have to figure out what do you want to talk about.
Yeah, apparently so. Well, Jess,
Right.
congratulations on that Bracket Challenge Championship. Go and enjoy it, and best of luck here in the upcoming season finale.
Well, thank you, but I do want to give out a lot of credit to a couple people, not just a few people here. I really want to give a big shout out to the guys that race here, being the way they are. You learn a lot. and you take in a lot, and your skills develop. I mean, constantly with certain people here, I'm able to develop my skills with gas a lot better. Certain strategies, it's been a great ride so far, and I really appreciate everything they've done. Seminara, Despirito, working with me the way they have over the course of my whole, this whole little stint that I've done with RTG along with Bernie and Godfrey. Give a big shout out to Mark Paglia and Kelly Causey and Greg Palmer based on, I mean, you saw the team thing that happened recently, right, Seth? And this race here, we hooked up. We hooked up last RTG race too with Paglia and Palmer and myself a little bit here and there, and Kelly Causey off and on. I mean, when we hook up, we're pretty good ourselves, So big shout out to them. Greg and I, we work together. We help each other off and on throughout this race specifically, along with Paglia. So a lot of credit goes to them and how this actually played out in the end.
Well, definitely a hard-fought victory here this evening to claim that bracket championship for season 63. Congratulations once again. Go and enjoy it.
Yep, thank you. Good win, Joe.
Let's see if
Buddy
we
was
can
moved
now
out of your
work our
channel.
way up the podium finishers. Let's kick things off with best career finish. Javier Negron, third place finish here this evening.
User was moved to
Javier,
your
Michael, and
channel.
Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
I got you. What's up, guys?
Man, I'll tell you what, you had a pretty good situation there coming off of turn 4. You had your teammate right there behind you. What little more do you need to be able to get that victory? Because, man, I mean, a podium finish here tonight, best career finish, and you almost were able to reach that brass ring. I mean, what are the emotion levels right now?
Well, my first emotion was like, just give me a top three. That was what I was looking for. But then when I had the opportunity to get behind, behind in second place, I was waiting to make a move. I know I tried to get a little okey doke, like I was gonna go down low, so I moved high. And then Ulysses, who's always teaching me stuff, told me, make a move. I'll go right behind you. So once we turned, he was he was a little scared of give me a real good push. He didn't want to wreck me, so we didn't have enough time to really get a good run on that last stop or race.
Now, I believe at the time the caution came out, you guys were on the back straightaway, so you had about half a lap to be able to work with to come back to the start finish line. But let's kind of speculate that this race had actually run green to the finish. Obviously there was some communication between you and your teammate Ulysses. Did you guys have a target lap of when you were going to make the move, or was that right around when you were planning on trying to make the move for the win?
Um, if we were gonna go green to get the pit stop, then Ulysses wanted to go in with the leaders, and we were just planning on doing just regular one can and no tires. That was before the caution came out. But our thoughts were just to go with the leaders. We were deciding on either um, go because we got at least five in our team, so we'll decide either go before them or just stay with them, and we'll decide just to go in with the other group.
We've seen a lot of drivers in the past here. They're able to finally break in, get that first top 10, then eventually that first top 5, and then that first podium finish. To be able to get that here tonight, what does that do for the confidence level and the outlook, not only in the upcoming season finale, but also in preparation for maybe a full-time season in season 64? Can this momentum keep going?
Hopefully, like I said, I've been running here more regularly, but I'm still new to the drivers besides my teammates. So right now, I'm just trying to stay towards the back and just get comfortable with it first, and then eventually um, I'll end up, doing the lotto and moving up closer to the lead in the beginning of the race. So right now, my comfort level is getting better and better every race with the people that I don't know yet. So this race really gave me a boost. Plus, it doesn't hurt with having 6 teammates with you.
You look pretty comfortable there for sure in these closing stages. Had a shot for that victory and bring it home with a solid third place performance. Congratulations on that best career finish here in the RTG Talladega Challenge Series, Javier. Before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Well, thanks, starting with Josh and everybody at RTG to letting me race with them. They're great guys. You guys doing what y'all do, and especially my teammates, Garden Oaks, Graham McDonald, Doug Hewlett, Ulysses, Keith Bynum. You know, it's never easy to have those many teammates, but it does work out, and thanks to them.
That's Javier Negron, and he parks the number 43rd place here tonight at Talladega Super Speedway. He'll look to continue that momentum to close out the season next week in the finale at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Congratulations on the great performance here tonight, Javier.
All right, thank you guys.
Let's see if we can now go
User was
down and
moved
get a
out of your
hold of our
channel.
second place finisher. That'd be Bob Seminara.
User was moved
Hey,
to
Bob,
your
Michael and Seth
channel.
up here in the FRM booth. You got me?
Hey, I got you. What's going on, boys?
Well, man, I'll tell you what, here tonight, at least in the early going, it was all about pit road execution, and you in the 24, it looked like every single time we'd look up when the cycle of pit stops was complete, you guys had been able to maximize and gain a ton of track position. Eventually saw you guys up there at the front. I believe it was after the second round of green flag pit stops and able to maintain it there in the closing stages, but a lot of decisions having to be made there. We saw the middle line start to get some momentum. A third line was coming. You guys were having to try and figure out which lane to be able to block. I think at one point you actually got cycled back to around sixth on that inside line. Were able to work your way back up forward. So how difficult was that to manage in the closing stages?
Yeah, there was a lot of decision making going on. Yeah, what did I do? I overshot my pit, split second, came out third there, and yeah, I didn't get a good restart and got freight trained on the bottom, which is normal there. There was no third lane, but it got dicey, and I just held my ground and got back up there and was in position with Joe.
Obviously, a couple of weeks ago, we saw you unfortunately get eliminated from the playoffs, but here with 2 races left to go, I mean, you still got checkered flags to be able to race for, momentum for season 64 and everything. If it came down to it here in the closing stage between you and Joe, did you have any thoughts about maybe trying to snipe that victory and pick up a multi-win season here?
No, he was going to have that one. This is my first night with MetroNet. Spectrum is no longer with me, so now I could concentrate on racing and not my connection. So yeah, I was right behind Joe on this one, but next week will be different.
Now we've ended up seeing maybe a little bit of a flip the script on what we've seen the last few races, where we end up having the early yellows and then we see the green flag towards the end. Tonight it was the green flag at the beginning, and then obviously that timing of that one caution led to a couple more towards the close of the night. But what do you think it was that led to that long green flag run there that got us that first cycle of pit stops? Because it kind of seems as we get closer towards the end of the season and we have more drivers get eliminated from the playoffs, a lot more drivers have the kind of I'm just out there to get that checkered flag mentality, and we'll end up seeing the aggression level pick up a little bit more.
Yeah, I know. The first 3 or 4 laps were kind of dicey with the third lane, or maybe a few more laps. It was dicey, and then it was just like, let's just settle in, be smart, so we got through a couple of stops, and decision making was the key, not to force anything.
Well, Bob, a great run for you here tonight. That second place performance might see you get that second checkered flag of the season next week in the finale. Congratulations on that new internet as well. We saw there was not a single wiggle out of that 712 all night long. Able to keep it up at the front all evening and bring it home with a top 3 finish. Before we let you go, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Yeah, thank you guys. Bernie's Paints, Mobs Motors, we're back. FTMF, and I'd like to thank RTG. I love racing here, and FRN, and all the guys that donate to keep this thing on TV, and it's awesome, and we'll see you guys next week. Q.
That's Bob Seminara, second place here this evening at Talladega Super Speedway. And he finishes
User
behind
was
the
moved
driver that
out
we're
of
going to
your
talk
channel.
with now, as we head down to Victory Lane and dial up the driver, the number 24,
User
Joe
was moved to
DeSpirito.
your
Joe,
channel.
Michael, and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Hey guys, I got you.
Second win on the season. Having to hold off a lot of charges there in the closing stages of this one as well, but you were able to keep them all at bay, able to complete this race under pacing, pick up that checkered flag. Now, we were just talking moments ago with Seminara, who got eliminated from the playoffs after the round of 8. You unfortunately got eliminated from the playoffs in the first round. So here tonight, was it a go for broke mentality? You don't really have to worry about points, and there were still 2 checkered flags before the end of the season up for grabs.
Yeah, checkers or wreckers tonight. We've been dealing with some stuff. Some me and my guys, whether it's internet connection issues or me just making mental errors, and I'm dealing with. I got some new pedals, and I'm trying to get used to those, and that's why I sped in the second race of the playoffs. So just getting used to things, and just excited for next season, 2025. I think we're ready to go, locked and loaded.
Yeah, Michael alluded to at one point on a green flag pit stop, you got a little fishtail there coming out of your pit box. You had one of those early stalls near the end of pit road, and pit road played a huge part really into setting everybody up for those final couple of restarts. You had some tremendous execution, always seemed to gain positions once the pit stop cycles were complete, actually got to the race lead after the second pit stop cycle was concluded, and were able to pretty much maintain it from there on out. How important was it here tonight for pit road, and how much did that pit selection with the random qualifying draw affect you?
Yeah, it was a little ways back there. Yeah, it didn't look like I touched whoever that was in front of me on the way out, but I guess I did. I clipped him and I fishtailed. But yeah, I haven't had much luck with the lotto this season. I think I've been in the top 10 once out of 13 races, which is improbable, but it keeps happening to me. Which is just another thing to worry about, and another chip on the shoulder, make it a little difficult to get up front. But that's okay. We did it. We made it up there, and we finished strong. 3 clean entries going in to the pits, and that's kind of what my mindset is right now. Just getting used to things and trying to have a smooth entry into pit road, and hopefully everything is clean coming out with the traffic.
Led the final 27 laps of this race. Now, you talked about here tonight, it was the checkers or wreckers mentality. Next week, same mentality there, trying to continue to build that momentum for season 64?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, just finding a hole, finding the right line that's making a run, and yeah, I tend to run a little better with no pressure, and just having fun out there. So yeah, me and my guys were having fun, and 1-2 finish for Mobs Motors.
Absolutely, and you now join the list of drivers with multiple wins on the season here as well, taking the checkered flag here tonight. Congratulations on the job well done there, the execution in the second half of tonight's race. And before I let you get back to your celebrations, the floor is yours for thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
Awesome, thanks guys. I want to thank RTG. I want to thank Josh and all the admins running Thursday nights. Always do a great job. I want to thank you guys at FRN, Mike and Seth. I want to thank my team at Mobs Motors. I want to thank everybody watching at home, and some of the sponsors for the series: Ultimate Garage Floors, Dixon Bros, and Mark Paglia. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
As Joe DeSpirito, second win on the season here tonight in the penultimate race at Talladega Super Speedway. He'll look to be the only 3-time winner at the conclusion of the season next week at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Congratulations on the victory. Best of luck closing out the season.
Thanks. I can't forget my guys, Dan and LC. Good night, guys.
As Joe DeSpirito, your winner
User was
here
moved
this
out of your
evening after
channel.
a wild one in the first race of the final round here at Talladega Super Speedway. I will bring up a point of something that I did for a bit of miscalculation when the checkered flag flew. With DeSpirito leading the most laps, that took the most laps led bonus point away from Tim Knofsker. So unofficially, Jeremy Jeffries will have a 4-point lead over Tim Knofsker rather than 3 points. I was also thinking about this too, Michael. You went back, looked at the replay of the Josh Metallic incident, and you mentioned Knofsker's name in the vicinity of the wreck. It will be interesting to see. Obviously, we won't know tonight. There will be a post-race review during the course of this week, but if something gets placed on the 088, where does that position him in the remaining of the finishing results? I mean, it's one of
Yeah,
those
it's gonna be
cases
up in
where
the
you
air.
gotta tune in next week and see what the fallout is.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, and I can't wait to figure out what's gonna happen and how it's gonna shake up or could shake up. What's gonna happen.
So you already alluded to it. I'm just going to touch on it just a little bit more for those that may have joined us late. We had our Championship 4 take the green flag. Metallic got involved in an incident within the first 10 laps. He spent most of the race off the pace, finished 3
Wait, hold
laps
on.
down.
If you're joining us just now, where the heck have you been?
Maybe people just like to hear us talk in the post-race wind down. Who knows? But Metallic ended up finishing 26th, last car running. Speeding penalty, we assume, for Chuck McClure put him off the lead lap. He finished in the 23rd position, while Jeffries and Nofsker, the other two Championship 4, finished in 4th and 8th, respectively. We mentioned, Michael, it's a must-win situation for McClure and Metallic right now, points-wise. However, there's no guarantee that win is going to win you the championship. So in your opinion, are the 17 and the 39 at this point in time eliminated from the title, and it's right now just a two-horse race between the 1 and the 088?
Well, I mean, it's going to come down to what happens and what the call is going to be made with that 088. But honestly, Seth, with as bad of a run, it very well might be. They might be eliminated. It's really tough to make up a lot of positions, and we've seen it firsthand.
Well, Nofsker and Jeffries are both former winners in their career at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway, so we'll have to see what their mentality is going to be heading into that finale. Do they go for it, try and keep themselves up at the front? Do they try and get themselves into a safe space, especially after what they saw happen here tonight with the other two Championship 4 drivers? We'll have to wait and find out. But we hope that you guys will join us for that next Thursday night. A champion will be crowned here in Season 63 in preparation for the year 2025. Will it be Jeffries? Will it be Nofsker? Or do McClure and Metallic still have a shot? We'll find out the answer to that in a week's time. Michael, appreciate you jumping here in the booth here for this one. Talladega definitely setting the table for what should be a very interesting final race at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see it. Now it's off to my other job at a supermarket.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into our coverage here today. Hope that you guys enjoyed it. For Michael Norman, I'm Seth Cole. We'll see you guys next week as we crown a championship here, or champion, I should say, here in Rolling Thunder Gaming's Talladega Challenge Series. Until then,
come shop at Chickens Eddie.
Chickens Eddie. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. You've been watching the broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Eddie Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's